Who is your Yankees heartbeat for all these three series?
Judge, and it's so easy. It's the easiest fucking heartbeat in the world. I mean, that was if you talk about a pinstripe pulse, man, holy shit. Um, just to like he literally carried the team on his back. And not in the way where like I feel like they were struggling without him in this series. I think that they still would have thrived in one way or another just because the offense is really starting to click now. But he was that 1,000% of the way through where with him being so locked in at the plate, it just felt like there wasn't any kind of breathing room for the Toronto pitchers, to work with it all. Just like having him in the lineup, his presence evokes so much fear in opposing teams that you feel like you can win anything with him.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Since coming off the IL, what, 6 homers?
Yeah. He's already
That's
tied in what third in I think the AL or the MLB
yeah.
right now or something like that. He's got 11 or 12.
Judge's last. I shouldn't even do his last four. It includes the 3 games in Oakland, but even those were down games. Let me.
Yeah.
I'll cut it up to his last 7 days because that's where all of his home runs came. 6 home runs, 12 RBI. He had 2 RBI in the Oakland series without a homer. 346 batting average, 1.07 OPS. Sorry, 1.07 slugging,
I was gonna say that. Yeah, that seems low for the OPS.
1.56 OPS. Aaron Judge, easy, easy heartbeat.
Yeah.
And that brings me to my answer. I have a shout out. I want to give Aaron Hicks his credit. He hasn't been playing every game. Last 7 days, only 3 games, but I mean a 1.12 OPS, or sorry, 1.18 rather, 1.2. In his 3 games, that's his 4 hits, a bunch of extra base hits, getting walks, which is important for Hicksy. And his last 14 days, he's played half of the games, 988 OPS. So if we can have an Aaron Hicks that made a good throw the other day, on a potential ball, on a potential sac fly scenario, someone who plays solid defense, who can come off the bench, switch hit, be an option and not a hole. Because ultimately the Yankees, especially throughout the year, if you're on the bench, you're going to start half the games. And if he can do, I'm not expecting 1,000 OPS from Hicks, but I am expecting like a 750, 700, 750, have that value. Um, I tweeted this out yesterday. I think um, Hicks just has to forget how much he hates the Yankees management because he gets distracted by how much he hates the opponent. Because he slammed the Rays and the Jays, because it was chippy and Hicks. Hicks has been on this Yankees team with CC, through all of this bullshit with the Rays and with the Jays. There really hasn't been that big of a Red Sox rivalry. It's been Rays, Jays, Astros, um, for the last 6 years. So Hicks is in it. He's been delivering. I want to give him his props. He's not my heartbeat though. Um, Actually, you want to talk about Hicks before I move to my heartbeat?
Yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to say that he's putting himself in a really good position right now to earn that fourth outfield position. I think that Willie Calhoun fell off maybe a little bit, so they like Willie a lot, and they really like Jake Bowers. Like it seems like they want him to be a mainstay. So it kind of leaves Calhoun in a tough spot because I think he's going to be ultimately the odd man out because you mentioned Hicks is the longest standing member of this Yankees team at this point. He
And
has
Hicks plays
seniority
defense.
and he plays defense. And then on top of that, he like all we needed to see was a little bit of life out of him. He was in such a negative place for so long that it felt like he was just never going to get out of that hole. And now that he has gotten out of it, we're seeing a man that's reborn. And he's a baseball player reborn, and his skills are starting to look sharper than ever. So I don't even know if that's a mechanical adjustment he made or he just needed some life injected into him. Whatever it is, it's like it's working. So if you can get that version of Hicks, I have no issues with him being on this roster.
Yep, I'm totally with you. And
Yep.
Bowers had a tough series against the Blue Jays, and Hicks had a great one. So I mean, play the guy who's earned it. If they're both going to be on the team, give
Yep.
that time to Hicks. I'm in a tough spot here. I think the answer is Anthony Rizzo. Real quick again to dance away from it. To give Volpe some love in his last 7 games. Um, 3 homers, 5 RBI. He has a 1.2 OPS. But looking at Rizzo in both the last 7 and the last 14, uh, Rizzo has a 750 slugging, a 1.12 OPS, 3 homers, 6 RBI. In the last 14, add a few more RBI. And especially him in those clutch moments. I mean, he won a game for us on his bobblehead night. He's been really solid. Having him behind Judge Rizzo playing at this level means that Judge has to be pitched to because when Judge gets on base in front of Rizzo, Rizzo is driving him in, or Rizzo is keeping it going. They have DJ behind him who's slapping in guys. Like I think this lineup is has been really solid. I like Glaber at top, and then going Judge, Rizzo, DJ. How that has been even Bader having the pop behind. It feels like a solid lineup, but that's because Rizzo is right there giving the righty lefty switch. He's been working at bats. He's been walking a bunch, still getting hit. Um, and big clutch home runs. And solid defensive play. He is my heartbeat. He even got a day off. Still 188 OPS plus over the last 7 days. Not too bad.
People will talk about Judge versus Otani as like the biggest ML MVP rivalry. I think it's right now Rizzo and Judge. Honestly, I think that they're pushing each other every week because they are such close friends. And then on top of that, it's like they're both performing at such an elite level that Rizzo really isn't that far behind him numbers wise.
Yep.
He might even be slightly better than him statistically if we're talking about this very moment. So
Counting stats definitely right there.
it's going to be very fun to see these two down the stretch do their thing. I think we should also talk a little bit about Volpe's start to his Yankees tenure. Sneaky has 7 home runs already, and that's pretty good for a shortstop in the MLB nowadays. What do you think about his game so far?
I am loving his offensive production. His defense has been slipping a little bit. But I think it's rookie. It's kind of the path that you expect from a rookie, right? He has this unreal talent, so that the defense is going to play, and then hitting is going to take a little bit to get. Now he's settling into his bat, and he's making a few of the rookie mistakes in that he's rushing a bit, he's picking his glove up a bit early. He's getting to balls really well, but in getting to the ball, he's not putting himself in a position to make a good throw. So he boots one in that last inning. I think he's plus defensively, and ultimately, he is right now. He's playing honestly at a level above IKF because of how much range and arm he has. But IKF was making those similar plays and similar errors last year, but it's because this is his floor and that was IKF's kind of ceiling, or that was his base. So now as Volpe progresses through the year, I think he's going to he's already a super smart player. I think it's just a few of those rushing moments where the moment becomes kind of big on the defensive side that I don't love of recent. His at bats look great. I like that he's not in the one hole anymore. Gets a chance to develop. Him going into the seventh spot, he's going to have a lot of runners on base. He's going to have to be pitched to, because I find that he gets nibbled around a bit because he's more prone to chasing. Um, but now when you have runners on base in front of him, or you have significant hitters that are hot behind him, which have been Oswaldo, Bader at times. Even Higgy has had a pretty solid power stroke of recent. You never want to put him on base, or especially if you're early. If you're early in an inning, if he leads off that inning, um, he's going to get thrown to, and he's been taking advantage of mistakes, going pole to pole. I mean, he's had 10 feet from the foul pole right field homers. He's had foul pole left field homers. I really like how he's settling in. And his stats are there. I mean, you take out those first 2 weeks and he's an above league average, if not a top third shortstop offensively. Add in the defensive tool above average and add in the steals, invaluable. I mean, he made a run in that Rays series. He was it a
Awesome.
walk or a hit, stole second, stole third, and then an aggressive wild pitch steal.
Yep.
You almost give him credit for his steal there. Obviously, you can't, but a lot of guys don't take that, and he
Yeah.
takes it easily.
No, zero hesitation. 13 steals, I think, which is tied for third in the MLB right now.
At
Um,
100% too.
Yeah, at 100% rate. And that's the most impressive part of it by far. He's still smart. He has one pickoff the entire season, I think.
Mhm.
And besides that, he's been flawless on the base path. And that's something that the Yankees have lacked severely in previous seasons. So having him and Bader, two guys that can generate runs with their legs, I think it really changes the versatility of this team because it just puts so much more pressure on other teams to get those guys out. So they start challenging them a little bit more. Um, that being said, you talked about Higgy for a second. I
Well,
think there's
real
an
quick, with
yeah,
Volpe, I want to give him his due. Last 7 days, 320 batting average, 400 OBP, 1.17 OPS, which puts him at a 203 OPS plus.
yeah,
So
yeah. Kid's
pretty
the real.
solid. And that's with an off week the week before. He's still at a 115 OPS plus for the last 14 days.
We could easily see him pop 20 homers and steal 40 bags this season.
Yep.
That would be a fantastic rookie season.